Okay. So yes, we were going through Spring Boot and Spring Data, how we can use these two things together. We saw something called a thread repository. So even the coding has been greatly reduced, right? Especially data access. Further, it has been reduced. Yeah, through Spring Data. We were going through adding custom methods to the repository, right? That is where we have stopped. Actually, we faced some issue, but there was no issue. Later on, I just wanted to check that. We were going through adding custom methods to the repository, right? For that, as I told you people, you don't have to implement any classes. So, but what you need to do is just add a method and supply the query which you want to execute. Yes, you used a query annotation to configure a query which you want Spring data to execute. Yes. Okay. So we had this repository. Right? Yeah. Now what I'm doing here, so basically we wanted to add a custom method. For that reason, I mean, basically by default you will get the methods for the most basic CRUD operations from the repository itself, right? You'll get it from the repository, which repository, the CRUD repository which you got here. But the thing is, if you want any additional methods for your requirements, okay, for application specific requirements, if you need any additional methods, then you will go for adding a method on your own. You should go for this method. I mean, the method name can be anything, but here mainly this query which is applying here and mapping that bind parameters to this method parameters. So these are the two things which are important, the key. Okay. So next, I'll show you. It's working fine. So you see, we have this controller. So we have a controller which is using that method, right? You see, find all products by name from the repository. So let me just run this code. Okay, your application is started. So let's test it using an external browser. Okay, so I have to place a request for this URL, all products. Okay, let's do it. You see, you got that records. So this way, you'll be able to add custom methods to this repository as well. Okay, yes. So if it is clear, then I'll move on. So any questions in this regard? So let's move on. Now I'm going to talk about REST controller. Here we'll see REST controllers. So what is a REST controller? So REST controller, you'll find that basically it is just like your controllers which we saw in Spring MVC, but the thing is the methods of this REST controller, you can think of them as resource methods. The methods of this REST controller, you can think of them as RESTful resource methods. That means you can develop REST services here using this REST controllers. Okay. You can develop REST services using this REST controller. So that is what we can do with REST controllers. Yeah. So generally, when we talk about a controller, you will find that the controllers, they process the client's request, the web client's request, and after processing the web client's request, the controller will delegate the task of handling the request to the, I mean, presenting the response to the view components, right? But here you see, this controller is going to be a REST controller. So now this controller itself will send the response back to the clients. So, but because the clients are not just browsers, they can be any other applications. So the response data need not be HTML format. So it won't be HTML format, to be frank. So what will be the response data? Always it will be XML or JSON format, right? So in best widely used format is JSON. It's always that response data or input data will be in the form of JSON. So these controllers, unlike your normal Spring MVC controllers, uh, they won't delegate the task of rendering the response to the view components. Okay, and they're not just handling a web client's request, but it will be a REST client. It can be any application which is placing the request here. So this controller will get the response data in the JSON or SQL format. That is what happens. So it's pretty simple and straightforward to develop such controllers. Okay, so I'll show you here in this Spring Boot application itself. I'll add those things. So first of all, do we need to add any additional libraries here for supporting this REST controllers? I can say we have already added Spring MVC now. So here by default, you'll get the support for that REST controllers also. Okay, yes. So let's try to develop a controller here. We'll call it as, let's say, product REST controller. Okay, previously you saw how to develop a REST service using JAX RS API and Jersey frameworks, right? I see. We'll be using this Spring application here for that. So let me just stop this server. Okay. You know what? We have to annotate this class with REST controller. You see, REST controller. Now let's add a method here. Let's say which returns that list of. You see, I'll take this method itself which you got here. I'll just copy this code. Let's see. So previously, that controllers method, it was returning a view name, but here we don't have to do this. You see, if you can notice the difference. Now what I'll do is here, this controllers method, I'll remove the model object. I'll remove the model object, and then here, this controller, it won't return any view name. So because, sorry, this controllers method, the REST controllers method, they won't return view name as I told you people. Will straight away return the response data which is in the XML or JSON format, and return list of product objects here. That's it. Okay. Yes. Return that list straight away. You need to configure the URL. Okay, we have a URL here. Let me change it. Products REST. Okay, comma. The HTTP method designated, you can provide those details here. Request method dot get, and generally on top of the method, we need to also add the producers, right? Producers equal to, what is it? Application XML or JSON. Application JSON. I want JSON data to be generated here. One last thing, you need to just annotate this response, whatever the response type which you got here. Just before the response type, add this annotation response body. Okay, just add this annotation response body. So this is what you need to do here. Yes. Okay. Now I can say that here we got this REST controller, which is already. So let's see how to make use of it. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Now let's place the request for this URL, products REST. You see, you got the response data in the JSON format now. Okay. People who have just joined. So actually, I'm talking about the REST controller, so which helps you people to create a REST service. You see, the controller's methods are RESTful resource methods. I can say yes. The controller's methods basically you can think of them as RESTful resource methods. Yes. You see, unlike your normal controller methods, they won't delegate the task of rendering the response to the view components. Instead, directly they send the response, which will be in the XML or JSON format. Yes, there is a basic requirement, right? Always the response data should be response data representation format should be either XML or JSON, because there can be any applications which want to place a request for this methods. Yes, they won't be web clients, especially. Okay, next, here, what if I got some parameters for the methods? What if I got some parameters for the methods here? So how that parameters will be configured here? You saw that we had different types of parameters when we talk about REST resource methods, right? So what are the parameters which you got. Yes. For suppose, yeah, you know the parameters, right? Can you name the parameters? We saw at least three different types of parameters. What are they? Path, query parameters, path parameters. They're very important. So the thing is here, how will you configure that query parameters? So that is the question. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. Okay, you almost do the same thing what you did earlier with some changes. For example, let's say as of now, you see, I'm hard coding the values here, right? One that product ID and name. So let's do this. We'll comment this method. So let's add another method here, which takes parameters. I would like to pass both the path parameters here. So one is ID, and the other one is the name pattern, let's say. And you'll assign that you will in turn pass those values here, you see, the name pattern. So that percentile we will we won't take it from the users. Instead, I'll append it here itself. Okay, percentile. That's it. Um, Now we have to configure them as path parameters. What to do? So we use this annotation called as path variable here. Path variable, we say. You can configure that names for this path variables. So now we got this path variables. You can think of them as path parameters, as I told you people. Next, do we need to configure anything else here apart from this? Actually, we need to configure this path parameters in the URL here, right? Yes. So this path parameter, so that URL should take those two path parameters. The URL is supposed to take two path parameters. So you have to configure them. You see, ID slash name. So this way in the URL, you can configure path parameters. Okay, we can do that. You can check this here once. Okay. Now let's try to test this code. Okay. Here, how will you place the request for that resource method this time? Now you need to pass two path parameters, right? So slash, let's say 110 slash s. The pattern. The name should start with s, let's say. The name should start with s, let's say. So that is what I'll do. Just press enter. You see, you got the response. So this way we can work with path parameters. You got a JSON array. Next, how about query parameters? If you got query parameters, then what you'll do? I'll show you another version of this method which takes query parameters. Because even developing RESTful resource methods is greatly simplified using this Spring MVC, right? Yes, Spring Boot, Spring MVC. We're using these two things together. Yeah, so already Spring MVC has got the support. In Spring Boot, I'm showing you people. We're using Spring MVC itself. Yes. Now let's configure the query parameters. So here we use this annotation called as a request param. Request param. Okay. Previously we have used path variable. Use request param. That's it. Do we need to configure this variables here? So are we supposed to do this here? Yes. What do you people think? So you don't have to do that. You can remove it. Okay. Just slash products. That's it. Now the question is how to access this method now. And so this method takes query parameters, right? What to do? So this time, let's see. Let me stop this application. Restart it. Add a question mark. Then ID 110. And second parameter, you'll do this. Name, ampersand, add ampersand. Name, let's say T. Agree? This time, you'll access this parameters. Sorry, you'll configure that parameters using the name here, you see? Yes, you have to use the name. That is important. Let's place the request. You see, we got it. Yes. So you see this way you can configure various types of parameters here as well. Next, I want you people to show you one thing here. Yes, anytime.
Um, Sir, the filter method which you have written is that does that show ID is equal to 110 and name is equal to T, or ID is equal to 110, or
ID is not equal to 110. ID greater than 110. The ID greater than whatever the given ID, and name starts with T. So the name should start with T and ID should be greater than 110. Yes. You can check the records here. So ID will be greater than 110. The name starts with T. All the names starts with T here. You can check this.
okay, sir.
So the point is not the query. The point is this REST service class which you have developed. Okay. Yes. That is what you need to concentrate on. So mainly how we are configuring the parameters here, request parameters, path variables. Those are the things which you need to concentrate on. So that is what the new thing is here. So the queries and all the same old story, right from HQL, we are talking about the same thing. Okay. So next, you know, so far now what we did is like this REST controller which we saw, it is providing an abstraction over the data. So basically, you see, this REST controller it exposes the data to the clients, right? So through this REST controller, now the clients will be able to access the data and all. Yes, you know, um, actually in Spring Boot there is a uh, further another abstraction is provided here. What you can do is instead of developing a REST controller, if this is your requirement, we're just you know um, providing this data through the controllers. You're providing the data through the controllers. So in that case, actually, you don't have to develop this controller also. Directly, the repository itself can be exposed as a REST service. Okay, the repository itself can be exposed as a REST service here. That is possible. So we have a few things which we can use here in combine. First of all, let me show you people how to expose this repository directly as a REST service. Yes. So all you need to do is just add this annotation on top of this interface. Just add this annotation. Just a second. So it is data. Let me just a minute. Yeah, okay, back. So let's talk about the special type of feature which is available here, especially in Spring Data. I'll show you. So first of all, already we have added JP, right? Okay, so I'm going to create another class here. Okay, let me just create another class, and I'll call it as iProduct REST repository. Okay, oh sorry, it has to be interface. Just change it to interface and make this interface extends. Make this interface extends JPA repository. JPA repository is also similar to your CRUD repository. Yes, but it facilitates this. You'll find that you can make this repository REST repository here. Yes. Now just add this annotation repository REST resource on top of this. But the thing is here, we need an additional dependency for this. What is it? We need a dependency called as the data REST. That means a starter. An additional starter is needed called as data REST. So that is the requirement here. Okay. Yes. So data REST, I'm going to add this dependency. Spring starter called as data REST. Yes. Let it build. It will take some time. Okay. See, now what we did here by adding this annotation, on top of this repository, it's a repository, which helps us to fetch the records from the database. Again, it's almost similar to the same pattern which you got CRUD repository, where you don't have to implement any methods here. So you can leave it to the framework. But the thing is, you will find that the methods of this REST repository, they are exposed as REST services, REST resource methods, I can say. Okay, they are exposed as REST resource methods. Yes, that is what happens. So you will find that you got something called as hate OS, which will also be enabled. Let's see. What I'll do is I'll just stop this application, start this application again. Yes, we may need some additional dependencies. Let me just check one. So I'll talk about hate OS also now. Yes. Once it is started, let me just do this. Dot we have URL configured for this. Um, sorry, I have to create a separate project for this now. Okay, because we have too many. We have been using this URLs. Again, we'll be having some conflicts. Okay, so this repository REST resource, I'll demonstrate it with another example, another project. I mean, say here. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I will be talking about a couple of things. We'll start with hate OS. So this hate OS, we need to also discuss about it now. What is this hate OS? Anyone aware of it? I need to talk about hate OS also here. So what do you people think? Is anyone familiar with hate OS? It's related to REST services. I will be talking about it here while I discuss about Spring Boot itself. Yes, hate OS is just a concept. Okay, so it is very much related to this REST services. So can someone talk about hate OS? What is it? Hate OS, it actually stands for hypertext as the engine of application state. Remember, this has got something to do with REST. Okay, RESTful architecture, REST architecture. It's related to the REST architecture. I mean, generally, we use this hate OS concept. Here, hate OS means it's basically is a REST pattern in which navigation links are provided as part of the payload metadata. Yes. Yes. And you'll find that here the client application determines the state and follows the transition URLs provided as part of the state. So basically here in HateOS you'll find that the clients will get additional information about the services, I can say. Yes, especially how to navigate through the services as part of the payload here. So when I say payload, so what does it mean? When I say payload, what does that mean? The response, that's right. Here you'll find that whenever a client places a request for any resource, so it will get additional information about that resource here. Okay, yes, further how to access that resource. It provides the navigation links so that clients can use it to accordingly operate on that resource, I can say. Yes. So without any further delay, first of all, I would like to show you people how it looks like. Okay, we'll see how it looks like. And one more thing, especially when you're working with HateOS, you have special browsers which we can make use of. Okay, yes, which facilitates this HateOS concept. We got something called as HAL browser. Okay, HAL browser, which will make use of hypertext application language. So sometimes people also refer to as hypermedia. Hypertext, hypermedia means same in both here also. Hypertext in HateOS or full form also. Hypertext application language. We have this browser. So basically HAL, I can say that what is this HAL? It's a HAL browser. First of all, what do we mean by hypertext application language? So HAL is a format, based on JSON. You find that HAL format, hypertext application language. Basically, uh, again, it facilitates that HateOS. So it provides that transition links or navigation links, which I told you people, right? So which will be based on JSON itself. Okay. So see, it is The navigation links which will be they'll be described using this HAL itself. HAL. HAL is a format which is based on JSON. Okay, so that enables, sorry, that establishes conventions to represent hyperlinks between resources. So HAL, I can say that helps APIs to be more explorable. REST APIs, I can say that they can be more explorable and discoverable. Yes. Yeah. So now from the client's perspective, accessing this REST services will be further simplified through this hate OS concept, I can say. Okay. Yes. Okay. We need HAL browser also, as I told you people. So let's try to work with it. So first of all, what I'll do is I'll create a Spring Boot application. Spring REST and hate OS. Okay. So let the packaging be var itself. Click on next. Now you need JPA. So of course web will be needed. Web is will be mandatory. Now we need REST also here. Okay. REST repositories HAL browser and hate OS. Yes, all of you make a note of it. You will need them. Hate OS. Additionally, what we are including here apart from JP and web. JP and web previously we have included them, but now additionally I'm including REST repositories HAL browser, hate OS. So to facilitate that hate OS concept and all, we need this hate OS libraries which will be added. And REST repository, to make a repository REST service, we just saw that annotation, right? To make a repository itself directly a web service. Yes, a REST service, we can do that. We can make a repository REST service here. For that purpose, you see, I'll be using this library here. Yes. So I hope you people have made a note of it. This is the list which you can check with JPA web REST repository, HCL browser. Hey to it. Then click on next. Okay, click on finish. Okay, so let's check this form.xml file. We can check the status here. Spring Data JPA, data rest. So as I told you people, to transform that REST services, sorry, repository into a REST service. We need this. Next, for HateOS, a browser is needed, which is based on HEL, and HateOS starter is added, basic web starter, and Tomcat starter here. Okay, that's it. Now, first of all, we need to configure the data source details here, right? So already we have it in our previous project, like just let me quickly and copy them. So we are not developing a web application. You don't need this prefix and suffix and all. Yeah, I mean, it will be a web application, but it's a RESTful resource. Okay, let's save it. So this is the first thing which you need to do. Now, what else we need? So we need entity classes, right? So we are still working with ORM. So JPA or Hibernate, all are based on the same concepts. Now we need a entity class. Let me just copy that entity class. Yes. What else? Next, let's create a JPA repository and transform it into a REST repository here. Then defining an interface in this package repository, high product repository, let's see. And I'll make this interface extends JPA repository. Okay. Yes. So the entity class is going to be product, and we'll make this then annotate it with REST repository. Again, I forgot the annotation. REST repository. I always remember that the annotations with REST itself. So basically, it is repository REST service. Yeah. Repository REST service. Now that's all you need to do here. So we are done developing a REST service which provides this product details. You know what? Yes, yes, you heard me right. We are done developing REST service. Okay. Let's start this application here. So what we did, we just developed a REST service, I can say. Okay. Okay, sorry. We forgot to add this JDBC drivers. Make sure that you add this JDBC drivers because still even GP uses Hibernate and Hibernate is built on top of JDBC API. The JDBC API needs JDBC drivers. So just make sure that you add this JDBC drivers also. Initially, while creating the project itself, you'll find it MySQL will be there. If you can check that, it's enough. So I just was concentrating on this REST part about that. Just add that JDBC drivers. This is the dependency. Okay. Now we can just start the application again. Okay. Now, how will we access this REST service? What methods we have here? So how will you know that? So this is where we just by default we place the request for this URL 8080. So place the request for that URL 8080. Have you noticed it? So this is your HAL browser, we say. What I did, I placed the request only for 8080. If you want, I'll show you again. See, localhost 8080. Okay. Yes. Now what you got? This is called as HAL browser for Spring Data REST. You see, and you see on the right side, if you can check this response body. In the response body, we got some links. You see, this is based on HAL hypertext. Hypertext. What did I say? HAL stands for application language. Hypertext application language. You see, which is based on JSON and which describes that application state provides that navigation links of how to access this web services here. You know, you'll find this. You got a URL if you can check this. HTTP localhost 8080 products. So you can copy this URL. Okay, actually you can go for that. Here you have this link, you see products. You have get here. If you click on get, you see, you can just click on this button which you got for get on the left side if you can check this. Or else you can paste this URL in the browser. Anyways it works, okay? Click on this. Uh, Follow the URI. Click on this, follow the URI. You see, when you do that, now you got resources. On the right side, if you can check this, you got the products. And for each product, you got a separate URL as well. If you can check this, you see, on the right side, if you can just concentrate on that. So as part of the payload, as part of the response, you see, you got the data as well as the navigation links of how to access the data. Okay. So this helps clients to easily access these resources and work with these resources here. Okay. Yes. So next, you see, this is the URL for which the request is placed. Now, okay, let's click this resource. Well, you see, one of the product here. I would like to access that product. What is it? I'll copy this URL. Okay, just copy this URL of that product. I'll paste it here. Okay, in the browser. So you'll find these details. Okay, you can check this. Now, the same URL you copy it here in this HL browser URL. Okay, /101. Just press enter. Okay, the same URL I've copied it here in the HL browser. You'll see that response data and everything here. If you can check this on the right side, you got the data along with that URLs. And if you can just scroll down, it will show you this links. And you see here, we got non-get also, non-get. If you click on this non-get, non-get means other than get methods. Click on this other than get methods. So you see what you want to do. If you want to update that record, so you have the options here. Okay, you can do that. I'll show you here. Down you have this product, right? The second link. Click on the second link. Uh, yes, now what you can do, if you want to update this record, we can provide those details as well. Just let me just minimize this browser size. Down I'm not able to see the button. Yeah, here it is. That is the problem. Down, if you can check this. If you want, you can update that record. Let's see whether we'll be able to do that or not. I'll open this browser. You have this record, right? 101. Let's update something. Let's say the product name is 4G net. Uh, I'll make it 4G dongle. Let's say 4G net. Mm, say Airtel 4G net. I'll make it Airtel 4G net instead of 4G net. Just plain 4G net. So what I do here, you see, name Airtel 4G, sorry, 4G internet. Just trying to modify that name. Description, let it be same. Airtel 4G. Price, price also, let's update it otherwise. Say 2000. Okay. Let's see that this is a JSON object. The ID is missing if you have noticed it, so you don't have to provide that ID. Uh, Action is post. We would like to update that record, and the URL, if you can check this. Yes. Okay. Just do this. Now we'll place a request. Let's place a request. Make a request. Uh, we got an error. Just a minute. Response for this 404. 404. The product name is not updated. Just a minute. It should work. So let me try for this one more time. Mm, Creator update. Name Airtel 4G. Okay, comma, description 4G internet. Last thing, price. So 2000. Okay. Let me add the ID as well. Otherwise, if you just add ID. not one. Okay, post request, make a request, let's see. Mm, no request is placed actually here. Let's do one thing. Let's use this REST client. From the REST client, we'll try to place the request. Let me just use the URL. So first, let me clear it away. Let's clear everything. So HTTP localhost products. Let's say we'll not add ID otherwise. Once we'll see that. Okay? Parameters means we don't have parameters. Instead, we have this body. Headers. Change this method to post on top. Okay. Change this method to post, and then you see you'll find body here. Body. The content type, you just make it application JSON. And then you can just paste the JSON data here. Okay. Mm, let's place the request now. Let's see. We are placing a post request. Do not one created with face. This time we'll try to check this. Yeah, it's working here. You see 4G internet 8 and 4G that's been changed. So here also the HL browser, I got the point. I guess it was taking that URL with the 101 at the ending. That was the problem. Let's check once. Okay. Here, if you scroll down, we have this record, right? This April 4G record. I'd like to update it. If you non-get, perform non-get, you can copy the data here, JSON data, and the URL. Just don't use 101. Just remove this 101 at the end. Don't append 101. So I'll do one thing. So I will update this description to 4G. Let's say dongle. Okay, I'll call it as 4G dongle. Twice I'll make it 2000. Okay, yes. I will make the request. Let's see what happens. So URL actually by default it takes that 101. If you append 101, don't use that 101. Remove it. Okay, make request. This time you see you got the response with the 201 success. So you got the data as well again, 4G dongle price and all. Now you can check the database. So yes, the product description is 4G dongle and price is updated to 1000. So sometimes the tools also slightly will have some issues. You need to identify because we have tested with another ID, sorry, another tool. You got the point. Okay, you see, this is how the hate OS works. And one more thing, there are two things which you need to understand here. First of all, hate OS, you understood this now, right? They'll get URLs as part of the payload, which helps the client, you see, to understand how to work with this REST service. Yeah. So next thing, the repository is direct now exposed as a REST service. The repository itself, without writing any REST controller. Now we don't have any REST controller, but have you noticed it? We're able to access that product details through a REST service. So that is dynamically created service. I can say REST service. So we didn't create it. And you got the details about that REST URLs and all with the help of that that HATOS concept, which provides that URLs and all, which helps us to browse. So browse through that resources and all. So we got the information here. Yes. So is it clear for you people what we did here? Okay, good. So this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'll be conducting a couple of sessions. I'm sorry, I'll be troubling you people. Please excuse me. So we'll be talking about Angular framework. Okay. So the timings will be just a second. Yes, yes, later. Yeah, just a second. 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Sunday also I'll conduct the class at the same time. Okay, sure. Please excuse me. This time I'll conduct the class on Saturday and Sunday. So try to bear with me. So I'll be talking about Angular. So each class will be for 2.5 hours. Okay, 2.5 hours or so. Yeah, 2.5 to 3 hours. So just keep this 3 hours aside. Just 2 days. So I'll be talking about Angular framework. Okay, that's it. So Indian time it will be 5 a.m. Thank you all. So and again coming week. So I'll be talking about messaging. When it comes to Spring Boot, I'll be talking about messaging. And next we'll start with microservices itself. Okay, we have left over with messaging, and then we'll start with microservices. Yeah. Next weekend we should be able to complete this microservices part also. Okay then. Thank you all. Bye bye.